episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about They Rise by Hunter Shea. This is just a little, I don't know if it's considered a novella. It's only 150 pages, so I think novella covers it. It's from Severed Press, and look at that cover. So it's They Rise, and excuse me. Uh, Basically, the main character is a marine biologist named Brad Whitley, and he spent his career studying chimera fish, um, also known as ghost sharks. And in the story, these methane vents in the ocean and climate change are causing these ice deposits. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call them, down in the bottom of the ocean, causing this ice to melt, and it's releasing these giant and very angry and very hungry chimera fish. Um, so Brad Whitley gets involved after some people have been killed by these fish, and lots of these things coming out. And Brad has to connect with his ex-wife Suzanne Merriweather, who's a climatologist, and she's been studying these methane vents. Um, and a bunch of other people all have to come together and take on the threat of these giant fish. Uh, that's not the best description, but essentially that's what you've got going on in this book. Um, Now, I got some pictures of chimera fish on my phone because I wanted to show you like a really good picture of them. As nice as that is, it really doesn't do these fish justice. They're horrifying looking. Um, but I couldn't get, I held the phone up. I was testing it out with my camera and I just couldn't get a good image. So I say, before you read this, and you should pick this up and read it, um, Google chimera fish and take a look at those things. And then just imagine them 20 feet long and coming right at you. So, um, and that's what you've got. This book to me, uh, I'm somewhat of a fan of the Sci-Fi Channel creature features. Um, I do enjoy the ones that are so bad that they're entertaining. There are some that I actually think are pretty good, relatively speaking. I like Frankenfish and the Snakehead Terror. I enjoyed both of those. I think there are some others. But this, I think, is what you would get if uh, those movies had a good budget and good writing, good characters, good dialogue. Because one of the problems with those movies is the really cheesy dialogue and the bad acting. And one of Hunter Shea's strengths as an author is great characters, um, realistic dialogue, and wonderful scenes of murder and mayhem. Uh, so he's got, as I said, a lot of great characters in here. Brad Whitley, the marine biologist, kind of a beach bum, drunk kind of guy. Obviously outside a lot because he's studying fish, um, and divorced from Suzanne. And I think part of that was his drinking. But we get a lot of that, a lot of character development for him, a lot of character development for Suzanne Merriweather. And she's on a ship called the Porpoise 4, I believe it is. And we get to know a little bit of her crew, or at least she's not in charge of the ship, so it's not really her crew, but her crewmates. Um, some really interesting and diverse characters there. There is a guy named Nestor Garza, and he's this old retired guy who works for, I believe it's the aquarium, local aquarium in Miami. Um, and he's basically, at the beginning of the book, he's hired to pick up Brad Whitley from his hotel, take him to the aquarium to check out this chimera that's been captured. Um, and I really liked this guy. And I thought, as I'm reading and I'm introduced to this character, I'm like, I like this guy. I hope he sticks around for the rest of the story. And then immediately realized that if he did stick around for the rest of the story, there's a good chance he would end up dead. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. Uh, you know, and this is the kind of story where, you might come to like some of these characters. There's a good chance they're not going to make it to the end. Um, this does very much follow the formula of most of this type of movie. It hits all of the beats. And I'm not saying the story itself is predictable, just that the structure of the story is very familiar. The analogy I came up with when I was thinking about this is, you could build two houses from the exact same blueprint, but once different people move in and decorate it, and furnish it, and paint it, and everything, they're going to be different houses. Yes, the structure's the same, but the inside, the meat, is going to be different. Um, and that's what you have here. While this is very much like structured like a lot of these stories, it's the characters, what happens, that makes this a different story and a very good story. The chimera fish themselves are terrifying, especially just in the huge numbers of them that have been released and are attacking. Um, and they apparently have no teeth, which I don't know which is worse. You see movies like Jaws or anything with sharks or piranha, and people, you get a leg bit off, or a person's bit in half if the shark's big enough, or whatever. I don't know if that's worse, or these chimeras that have no teeth, so when they chomp down, they just smash you. It's just horrifying. It seems to me that would be. It seems like it would be worse than being bitten to me, and it's really graphic in the book. And they also have venom that has a horrifying effect when a person is stung. So these are very, very deadly creatures. Um, so it makes for a really terrifying story. You're going to be afraid for all of the characters here. Um, and there was something else. Oh, I spoke about the structure and how it hits all the beats of this type of story, and it very much does. You've got, it starts with some what I would call cannon fodder characters, uh, just doing their thing, and in the little bit that they're in here, they're well developed. Um, and then it introduces the threat, the chimera fish. Then we meet our main characters, and then we might have another scene with some more cannon fodder characters. Then back to our main characters. The threat for our main characters ramps up, um, and again, it's a formula you're going to be familiar with if you like this kind of thing. But excuse me, this is very much one of the best of that type of thing that I think you're going to read. It's quick, like I said, it's only 150 pages, uh, so it's quick and easy to get through. It's very exciting. Um, Hunter Shea uh, writes a wide variety of stuff and usually hits it out of the park every time. And this is no exception. I highly recommend it, which is going to lead us to my rating here. And um, I didn't want to try to draw the chimera fish. I didn't think I could do it justice. So I thought about going with like just a goldfish with like horrible teeth, make it like a killer goldfish. But then I thought, they're called ghost sharks. So um, I started thinking out of the box. And what I gave this book was 4 3/4 shark ghosts, or ghosts, I don't know, ghosts dressed up as sharks. Um, and the only reason it's 4 3/4 and not five is because I don't know if it was the author's intent to so completely follow the formula of this type of story. If it was his intent, then he succeeded completely. If it wasn't his intent, though it had to be. I mean, as closely as it follows the formula, it seems to me it had to be his intent. But personally, I would have liked to have seen him maybe put his own personal twist on that formula. Again, the story is not predictable. Uh, it's incredibly well written, with great characters, great action, lots of terrifying things that happen, but it does follow that formula to the letter. And I would have liked to have seen maybe his own little twist on it, um, his own personal mark to that formula. So, so that's why it's not a five. It's 4 3/4. You can see this fin isn't completely colored in. That's how I get my. That's a that's 3/4 of a ghost disguised as a shark. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend They Rise by Hunter Shea. Just a wonderful. I love this type of story. For some reason, I don't know why, I love animals killing people stories. And this is really a fantastic example of that type of story. Um, it would, I don't want to see it as a sci-fi channel movie because they don't seem to have the budget to do it right. But I would love to see this done with, a good budget, good director, good cast, um, proper writing. Just take it straight from the book. You don't need to adjust anything. Um, it would make a fantastic movie. It's a great summer read. To me, this is the kind of thing that's perfect for reading on a nice summer day. You sit outside, get some sun. Just don't dangle your feet in the water because they might get you. Excuse me. So that's They Rise by Hunter Shea. Um, I will have links for the book in the description down below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are always open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.